my previous video, I showed you how I constructed my cover for my long stitch journal. And in this video, I'm going to look at making my signatures. Now, um, I suppose in sort of a true junk journal, then you're using waste things, so like flyers or newspapers or you know, envelopes, things like that. And I do use some of those, but I do quite like making my journals from old books and old magazines, and also because I have so much old, I say old, the scrapbooking papers, 12 by 12s, that I have a lot of pads from card making that I've never used, or I've used bits from. So I like to use all of those up um, for making the signatures of my journal. So I just wanted to show you sort of literally how I would go about this. So this, you may have seen in a previous video, I've already been through this and at the signatures, as you can see. So I like to do this because I like to use them as I like to use them as a proper sort of part of the signature if I can, if they're big enough for the journal. So I'm going to be using some of these from Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady in this journal. And then, oh, excuse me, I just knocked my camera. There we go. Right. Now, these two, this copy of the Punch and a copy of a magazine called The Artist, I found quite a few months ago when I was out shopping with a friend. We happened to pop into this little shop and it had quite a few. So I've got quite a few copies of these The Artist and quite a few different punches. So I haven't yet cut into these ones. So the way all I will do is because this is a magazine, so it's just basically one signature. So we'll find the middle. There, she says. Oh, that's a nice page. Um, Here we go. Now you can see it's got some very, very old staples. So I'm just going to use my pokey tool to lift those. Try not to. Maybe that this center page might be a little bit, might not hold together. Oh, there you go. That's what I thought might happen. Because they're so rusty, it's just breaking. So, and then we'll turn it over and try and pull this out on this side. There we go. That's one out. And that's the other. So now I can take these as a double page spread, and then I can use them in my signatures. If they're really damaged along this part, you can put rice paper. It can be like plain rice paper, or if you have, you know, any of the printed rice papers, it doesn't really matter, but it will just add a little bit of strength on there without adding too much bulk. So that's that one's ready for me to have a look through. I think the Artist will be the same. Some nice color spreads in here. So yes, this one is again another one, not so rusty staples on this one. And then there we go. We can just wipe those out back like so. And then this is I found at those little emporiums that has all sorts of different stalls. So this one, I don't know if you can catch, has multiple signatures. So what we need to do is we need to get in there and cut the binding. So what we'll do is we'll find, see, I've got hold of a whole signature there. And because it's quite old, you can see it's moving here. So if I just push this over, I can see the little threads that are holding it together. So I'm literally just going to use my craft knife to cut through them. And this is the same process that I used on Punch Diary of an Edwardian Lady, or in any other book that that you're trying to take apart. Now you can see here that this, and this does happen. I have found this quite a bit. Sometimes you get these bits that are stuck together and they don't form part of the signature. I don't, I'm still fairly new to this whole bookmaking thing and making my own journals. So sometimes, I'm not 100% sure what's going on with these, but it doesn't matter, because if I end up with single sheets, then they will just go in my collage, my box of collage papers. But that's quite interesting. That one is stuck. So yeah, I think, yeah, I would pull this one away. So this one will go in my box of vintage papers. And I will keep these as sort of signatures. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish disassembling this book, and then I will come back when I have chosen my papers for my signatures for this journal, and show you how I make them fit. I have now chosen, I got a bit distracted, if I'm honest with you, with some amazing adverts in the artist, which I'm gonna cut up for ephemera for another time, but I digress. I have 4 12 by 12 scrapbooking pages, and I've deliberately for these chosen double-sided ones. I have 4 bits from the music manuscript, 4 from the artist, 4 from the punch, and 4 from the uh Country Drive in Edwardian Lady. My feeling is to use one of each in each signature. But the first thing I need to do is to actually cut these down to what I want, and that will be different things for different pieces. So for example, with this one, I'm not so fussed about having August on there, but I like the picture. So for me, I quite like taking this little bit of time to um to get the pieces in a junk. I think if I make a true junk journal, I'm not that bothered. But and when I make a journal a bit like this, even though I can guarantee you that 90% of this stuff will be covered, there is sometimes the case that I don't want it covered. So I like to have something that I can um see or work with, or enhance. So it's just a case, and this is a bit of a process. So we're going to go there and there. Now the other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure this, because if I measure it, I'll know. It'll be easier. Bear with me, I'm just coming down to the bottom of my board, which so this measures 7 3/4. Let's do it with my ruler, then you can see. Okay, so it gives me 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch in each end. But this may change. This is just my kind of first stab at it. I personally don't always like my signatures flush with the edge of my board. I like them in a little bit. So we're going to start. And you know what? If if I cut this and I go, ooh, then I don't feel I've wasted anything, because this would go in my uh my collage uh um box. So yeah, no, I'm happy. That's going to sit nicely in there. So I know that I need them to be 7 3/4. Now, the other thing is these ones are quite small, so these can stay exactly as they are. I'm not going to do them all on camera because, you know, it'll take a little time. So that's how we'll do the country diary. Um, with these are the this is the punch. This is the punch one. I'm going to start, because I know these are massive. I'm going to start by popping the top and bottom off, because we don't need those. And then the other thing I want to do is to get a kind of a rough idea of how far out I want them. So if we go about there. And again, you know, like I think I said before on this video, I am still learning how to make books, and I'm doing it how I want to do it. I do follow some things, but I also like to try to do it in a way that makes sense to me, a way that you know, I can remember or whatever. Um, so let me just measure this. So that is 8 inches. Okay, so we'll go with that. So we're looking for pieces that are 7 that way. Yeah, 7 3/4 that way and 8 that way. So I can cut that off. And then I've got to decide where I want my 7 3/4. If there's anything specific, nothing particularly in there, nothing particularly in there. So we might just go, in this case, with 7 3/4 there. Now you might look at this and go, oh my God, it's so laborious. And yeah, you know, to an extent, it is a little bit labor intensive. But for me, this is a lot of what I enjoy about making journals like this. You know, I don't, you know, sell things. I just do them for me, for gifts, and you know. So this bit that I've cut off here, be this won't be wasted. I have a few videos that I'll be posting soon, showing how I'm using up all my scraps like this. I have bigger collage pieces, but I also have some ways that I'm using up these bits. So watch out for those videos when they come out. So far, we've got those. So that's how I would deal with pieces from the punch. I'd say a similar thing will be for these. Yeah, I will cut off the tops and bottoms and sides and just see what I like. I was a bit selective with these ones because I found, in the same way that I found some really lovely adverts in The Artist, there are also some really lovely colour prints of various pieces of art, and I quite like the idea of cutting those out to use somewhere. So I've kind of gone for the bits. There might be one actually that I've used. This one I'll show you. There's quite a few like this, and I really like the idea of, excuse me, cutting these out for use. But yeah, so I've got those to do, and also the music sheets will do in the same way. Um, but obviously I've then got my pieces here. And these are going to be quite small. I'm going to cut do one and a half, and you can see they are actually quite small. So there will be some bits um like that that won't stick out as much. So I'll basically have three levels, and that will mix and match in. Okay, so again, I don't need to worry about the width of that, but I do need 7 3/4 was next, so I will just be cutting these down to 7 3/4. That's where I did it. So you can see that my signatures are starting to come together. So I'm going to go ahead now and prep all the pieces, and then we'll look at how I assemble and trim my signatures. All the pieces are now cut for my signatures, and I now it's a case of deciding how I want them to be sorted. So the first thing I'm just going to do is put one of each in a pile. I'm not thinking about it, or this is how I tend to do it. So just one of each in the pile, and then the next thing. So I've got my four piles. So these will make my four signatures. And then it's a case of deciding how I want to arrange these within. So for this one, I mean, it again, so I need to just open them. The thing to bear in mind is that um, the in a minute, some of this will be trimmed because if you can see, it's not that this sticks out further. It's just purely because of them being put within each other. And so if you want your the edges of your signature nice and even, right in there, then we'll just need to trim a little bit on here, but I'll show you how I do that. So that's one signature. Might put the music paper there. Uh, there is no rhyme or reason to it. It is literally just yeah, and just sort of uh mixing it up a little bit. So maybe we'll have the um uh, I'm not even worrying about, like this, like the bits that are next to each other. It will be what it will be, really. I'm just playing around with them. Okay. So, and the last one, I like these words. This is from the back of the Edwardian Edwardian lady. Um, maybe we'll have the music with that one. Uh, there, and then I'll have that one, and then that one. Right, so okay, so I have my four signatures here. which will go into my folder. Okay. Now, when you look at them and the size of my doesn't look much. I like doing a lot of collage. I just want this not to be bulging out. I want it to be, you know, um the cover not to be doing like this, but to be sitting over. But we'll see. So this is kind of a bit of an experiment for me. We'll see if it works. Every time I've tried it before, I've never made it quite big, but I might have gone a bit too big this time. We will see. Now, so I was going for 8 inches. So what I'm doing is I'm just marking, I need to be able to see it, the 8 inches on this bit here. Okay, so you can see that already all of this has been pushed out beyond that 8 inches. I'm going to do the same with these. Now, you don't have to. Quite frankly, I've probably got room for it to bulge over a little bit, but it's something I normally do, so I'm going to do it this time. So literally putting the 8 inches on. If you're making a nice little neat notebook, then that you definitely need to do this. But I see with this one, not a lot to take off. We've got with this one. Yeah, 8 inches will be that one. Now, I have this. So this is a book hook from Janie's Originals. So it I get this. So this bit here, this hooks over the edge of the table. So you can't see a lot of it on there. I'll just push it up a little bit so you can get the idea. And I also have the ruler, which I got from Janie as well. So I'm going to turn this over because I've got a sticker there and I'm going to end up cutting it. So the idea is you butt your signature up to this side, and I am going to push this, oh, not because you're not going to see it. This isn't level because it's not hooked onto the end of my desk, but it's just to show you. So this is butted up against here, and then the ruler butts up against here, and this side has a metal edge. And then you use a craft knife, and you're not putting a lot of pressure on this, it's just running it down, and you do it repeated times to remove the excess. So now we've got a knife. I say that I've managed to, this paper, this punch paper is quite thin in comparison. I've just caught the edge there, but again, not too worried about that. So I'm going to go on and do the others of these, and then once that's done, I'll show you my next stage. Okay, I have my 4 signatures here. And I've been having a little bit of problem with the camera, so I thought I'd filmed this, but not to worry. I'll just show you what I did. So I've got my 4 signatures, and I've got my this is the template I used on the spine for getting my holes, and then what I've done is you marked in 1/4 of an inch from each end on the template, because these are 7 3/4 and the original spine was 8. So just line these up, and then I used it to mark on the here where to punch my holes. Okay, and then I placed it into this. This is a piercing cradle. This one is from Jamie's Originals. And I used my piercing awl to just go through on the places that I'd marked to make my holes. And I've done that on all four of my signatures. So the next stage is to sew them into the cover. So we are now ready to sew, and I have got some waxed thread here. I've got my needle and I've got this little thing. It's a stitch holder, and I just use it for the first part. Now I can never remember. I think you have to have enough for each. That's 2, 3, 4 signatures, and then I'm going to go 1 extra for that. So we'll just snip that off. I've gone for brown wax thread because I did brown stitching, and the reason I did brown stitching was because it was what was still on my sewing machine. So there was no you know, no sort of fancying about that. Okay, so now I never can remember whether to start at the back or the front. I think I start at the back. We'll go with starting at the back. So I'm going to turn these this way. And this is what I want at the front. This is my back. The other thing is to make sure it's up the right way. So, and bear with me, I will try to show you as best I can with this. So I'm going to start by going through the end hole and then through the hole on my cover, and like so. Now I want to keep a loop here. So this is going through my stitch holder here. And then you go back through this hole. Oh, not the greatest at showing you how to do these cards, no problem. This kind of stuff, not so much. So I'm coming back through there. I know you have to make sure you don't go through, split the thread. Trying to make sure, this is not the most elegant demonstration here, I can assure you. And then back through my signature into the middle. Okay, so I keep pulling, but this leaves me a little loop here on the outside. And then I've got quite a lot of thread there, which means I'm probably, like you can see, I am not by any way, by no way professional. Maybe I'm not even competent, but I'm hoping I can keep it. There we go. Smaller thread there and pull that there. Okay. So I've got my little loop there, and I am going to tie a little knot there. Okay. So that's kind of the first tricky little bit. So then I'm going out through there and then back in through here, and I know you need to pull it, oops, pull it in the direction you're sewing to keep the tension. So pulling it this way and then back out through here on the right fold in my this is why it's called long stitch. You get a long stitch here and you get a long stitch here. Excuse me. I said I'm not the best demonstrator of this, but give you the idea. So come through there and then out again through there. Okay, pull that way. So that's my first signature. Okay, so next signature comes in, and then if Janie's watching this, she'll be going, yeah, she'll probably be tearing her hair out at me, but it's giving you some idea what to do. Okay, so now I'm coming back in through here. If you really want to watch how to do it, you need to find one of Janie's videos. She'll much more clear than mine. But and then I'm coming in through here. And then out through here. Let's see. Here. I'm pulling it this way to make sure I am then out here. Okay, then in through here. Nope. Went through all that. Oh, okay. I'm not too worried. Can always put a little bit of rice paper over that. Not the end of the world. And then back out through this one here. And now the reason for this. Now I've never done them this wide apart, so this is a whole new thing for me too. The idea is we take this off. Oh, and I think I've broken my stitch holder. Hey ho, this is just me being awkward. Never mind. And then I need to put my needle, and I'm coming down that way in through there. Okay. Ooh. And then I can pull that, and then I go in through this next one, and I get my next signature. So this is called a link stitch. It links them together. We didn't need one here because we were linking them anyway. So let's make sure I've got this up the right way. This way. That's the right way. Okay, so now we're going to just sew back. Oh, do you know, I really am making a hash of this. I'm making, but I am still learning. I am still learning about bookbinding. So I'm quite happy to share my little bits that I get wrong for you to to learn from. But yeah, it won't be perfect, far from it. But it will give me a working journal. And, you know, I'm not going for perfection. I mean, that would just be asking way too much. So remember, I'm pulling this way and then in through here, and through there. Oh, and then out through this one. Whoop, the page. Okay, now the idea then is we link back through this one. So go through, try not to catch the material. And then that links to that one. And then we come out here for our last signature. And that way. I have put one together before where I've ended up with one signature that's upside down. And I did unstitch it because it was like, oh, but you know, it isn't the end of the world. I'm just trying to find this one. Okay, so in through there, out through there. And through. I do apologise for the really appalling camera work because I'm so busy focusing on it. I'm not focusing on where it is in relation to the camera. So my apologies for that. And through there. So if you are a bit bummed out or you have better skills than me, please forgive me my little foibles. There you go. But I can get the job done. That's how I feel about it. Right, so now this last one, we need to do a link again. So we come back through there. Yeah. And then we come back in through this one. Oh, that was seamless, wasn't it? And then, just going to pull that out of the way. And then going under there to create a little knot. And then I'm going to do a second one as well. There we go. And I'm just going to cut that. So, phew! So, I now have my 4 signatures in. I have a long stitch, bit tatty, but it's there. I have my pages ready to journal on, and it's laying nice and flat at the moment because I've left so much room. But hopefully, if you continue following me, you'll see how this ends up going from like that to more like that because of all the bits and pieces that will go in there. So yeah, so that's my finished journal. It's going to be put into use at the beginning of March, so keep an eye out for that. And then yeah, I look forward to showing more of my journaling and journaling journey with you. Thank you very much for joining me, and hopefully I will see you again, or you will see me again soon.